Освобождена уже примерно.
Our forces have already pushed ISIS about 5 to 6 kilometers away from the city on the left side of the Euphrates. But the most important thing is the blockade on the city has been lifted and the people are receiving humanitarian aid.
But gains are quickly reversed in the eastern Syrian desert, and Russia warns while the forces they support have been moving forward fast, tough battles still lie ahead. Pls Like, CNN, Deir ez-Zor, Syria.
Fire points in those areas will be immediately suppressed with all military means, says Major General Igor Konashenkov. Russia has threatened to target areas in Syria where American special forces and U.S.-backed militia are operating if its own forces came under fire from them, something it said had already happened twice. The country's defense ministry said Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, an alliance of Kurdish and Arab militias fighting, had taken up positions on the eastern banks of the Euphrates alongside U.S. Special Forces. The SDF had twice opened fire with mortars and artillery on Syrian troops who were working alongside Russian Special Forces, it claimed. Major General Igor Konashenkov said in a statement that a representative of the U.S. military command in Al-Udeid, the American Operations Center in Qatar, had been told in no uncertain terms that any attempts to open fire from areas where SDF fighters are located would be quickly shut down. He added, fire points in those areas will be immediately suppressed with all military means. Moscow also claimed that the SDF had diverted from the battle to take the northern city Raqqa to the province of Deir ez-Zor, around 100 miles to the east, where Russian special forces are helping the Syrian army push out ISIS militants. In Deir ez-Zor, the Islamic militants are battling two separate offensives, launched by the SDF on one side and the Syrian army and its allies on the other. The Syrian army, backed by Russian and Syrian warplanes, has captured about 62 miles of the west bank of the Euphrates this month, reaching the Raqqa provincial border earlier this week, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported. Syrian troops also crossed to the eastern side of the river on Monday. The SDF's advances have been on the eastern bank of the river. The convergence of the two rival offensives has increased tensions in Deir ez-Zor. The U.S.-backed militia said over the weekend that they had come under attack from Russian jets and Syrian government forces, something Moscow denied. The SDF later warned against any further Syrian army advances on the eastern riverbank. Russia's defense ministry subsequently said the waters of the Euphrates had risen as soon as the Syrian army began crossing it, suggesting this could only have happened if upstream dams held by the U.S.-backed opposition had been opened. Major General Konashenkov, in his statement, questioned the nature of SDF's relationship with ISIS. Russian drones did not detect any clashes between the two groups when SDF fighters approached Deir ez-Zor, he said.
Takeoff towards one of the most brutal battlefields in Syria, protected by heavily armed gunships. The Russian army is taking us to the former ISIS stronghold Deir ez-Zor.
Even though the Syrian and Russian armies have managed to push ISIS back, there still are a lot of ISIS fighters here in this area. That's why taking the helicopter is the safest way to get to Deir ez-Zor.
After landing in this dusty desert town close to the Iraqi border, the Russian army takes us to the city center. ISIS ruled most of Deir ez-Zor for more than 3 years and besieged government-held parts of the town. Now, commerce is returning here.
No, Russia is a friend, a very, very good friend. We like Russia. We respect and appreciate them. What Russia did for us is so great. Their efforts are too great to describe.
The Syrian army and its Russian backers are continuing their offensive against ISIS in southeast Syria, trying to win back the remaining parts of this key town, which remains scarred by the fighting.
This area here used to be right on the front line between Syrian government forces and ISIS, and the entire area that you see behind me here, all of these sand berms, just a few days ago, those were ISIS fighting positions.
The Russian military says it believes a victory in Deir ez-Zor would put them close to ousting ISIS from all of southeastern Syria.
Освобождена уже примерно.
Our forces have already pushed ISIS about 5 to 6 kilometers away from the city on the left side of the Euphrates. But the most important thing is the blockade on the city has been lifted and the people are receiving humanitarian aid.
But gains are quickly reversed in the eastern Syrian desert, and Russia warns while the forces they support have been moving forward fast, tough battles still lie ahead. Pls Like, CNN, Deir ez-Zor, Syria.
Besta.